Hey everyone, welcome back to Genai's Game News. We are kicking things off today with a wild piece of gaming history that is going to make you see one of the greatest RPG franchises of all time in a completely new light. According to PC Gamer, the iconic name, The Elder Scrolls, was essentially slapped on at the last minute, and nobody on the team really understood what it even meant. A design lead on the very first Elder Scrolls game reflected on those early days, recalling that the project transformed so dramatically during development that by the end, the finished game barely resembled what they originally set out to make. When it came time to ship, they needed a name, and The Elder Scrolls was the one that stuck, even though, as one team member put it, the person who came up with it didn't know what it meant any more than the rest of them did. And speaking of shipping, PC Gamer also reports that back in those early Bethesda days, once a game was finished, the entire team would literally assemble the physical boxes, fold the inserts, and even break out a heat gun to shrink-wrap the copies themselves before getting them out the door. Can you imagine the developers of one of the most beloved RPG series ever standing around a table with a heat gun? It's honestly kind of charming. From those humble, hand-packaged origins, The Elder Scrolls grew into a global phenomenon, and now we're all sitting here waiting on Elder Scrolls 6. The name might have been an accident, but the legacy absolutely was not. Alright, and now for some genuinely heartbreaking news from the industry. GameSpot is reporting that Iron Galaxy Studios, the independent developer based out of Illinois, has announced a new round of layoffs that could affect up to 90 employees. That is a massive hit for any studio. What makes this even harder to hear is that this is the second round of significant cuts in back-to-back years. The studio already let go of 66 staff members back in 2025. Iron Galaxy took to LinkedIn to make the announcement, expressing regret over the decision and saying they are, quote, terribly sorry to lose those team members as they try to adapt to the current climate of the video game industry. The phrase evolve again was used, which feels like cold comfort for nearly 100 people who just lost their jobs. This is yet another painful reminder that the gaming industry is still going through a brutal period of contraction. Studios large and small continue to make these difficult cuts, and every one of those numbers represents a real person, a real career, and real talent walking out the door. Our thoughts are absolutely with everyone affected at Iron Galaxy right now. Moving on, if you're a Fortnite crew subscriber, you might want to sit down for this one. GameSpot is reporting that Epic Games appears to be chipping away at the value of its $12 a month Fortnite crew subscription, and not in one big, obvious move, but through a series of small, quiet changes that add up to a pretty significant hit to your wallet. Now, crew is already a fairly packed subscription on paper. You get a monthly skin, some V-Bucks, and access to multiple passes including the Battle Pass, OG Pass, Music Pass, Lego Pass, and even the Rocket Pass over in Rocket League. But earlier this year, Epic drew a lot of heat when they reduced the amount of V-Bucks players receive from purchases and the Battle Pass, a pretty dramatic shift in value on its own. And according to GameSpot, that may not be the whole story. Epic might also be using more subtle, less visible methods to quietly erode what crew subscribers are actually getting for their money each month. It's the kind of creeping devaluation that's easy to miss if you're not paying close attention. If you're subscribed to Crew, it might be worth taking a closer look at exactly what you're getting for those $12 every month. Okay, here's some genuinely exciting news for racing game fans. PC Gamer is reporting that Forza Horizon 6 has apparently already crossed the 500,000 sales mark on Steam, and we are still a full month away from the game actually launching. That is an extraordinary number for a pre-release, and it really speaks to just how hungry fans are for a new entry in the franchise. A big part of that hype almost certainly comes down to the setting. Forza Horizon 6 is reportedly set in Japan, which has been one of the most heavily requested locations from the fanbase for years. The contrast with Forza Motorsport, which PC Gamer describes as having essentially crashed into a brick wall in terms of player interest, could not be more stark. One branch of the franchise is flying high, the other is struggling to stay on the track. 500,000 sales before launch is genuinely impressive for any game. And if Horizon 6 delivers on what fans are hoping for, it could be one of the biggest racing game releases in years. That one is definitely on our radar. This next one is genuinely sad news, and we want to take a moment to honor it properly. Both PC Gamer and Eurogamer are reporting that Alexander Morton, The Scottish actor who voiced the beloved dwarven companion Zoltan Chivay in The Witcher 2 and The Witcher 3 has passed away at the age of 81. Morton had a celebrated career on British television. Many in the UK will know him from his work on the beloved comedy drama Monarch of the Glen, but for millions of gamers around the world, he will always be Zoltan. That gruff, foul-mouthed, fiercely loyal dwarf was a fan favorite throughout the Witcher series, and a huge part of that was down to the warmth and personality Morton brought to the role. There's something special about voice acting. These performers become part of worlds that people return to again and again for years, and in that way, Morton's work will live on every time someone boots up Witcher 3 and hears Zoltan's voice echoing through Novigrad. Our sincerest condolences go out to his family, friends, and everyone who had the privilege of working with him. Alright, let's sail into something a lot more fun, because pirates are absolutely having a moment right now. GameSpot is reporting that Windrose, the new pirate sandbox MMO, has rocketed past 100,000 concurrent players on Steam within just 3 days of launch, landing it at number 11 on the platform's most played games list. To put that in perspective, it's outpacing Stardew Valley and sitting right behind the action RPG Crimson Desert, which is no small feat, and GameSpot notes that this surge in interest is coming at the same time that rumors are swirling around a potential return to Assassin's Creed Black Flag, suggesting that players are absolutely starving for high-quality pirate experiences right now. PC Gamer is also spotlighting a brand new pirate-themed city builder called Corsair Cove, which lets you build your own ultimate pirate hideout, and is set to launch later this year. The message from players is loud and clear: give us pirates. Give us ships, give us plunder, and give us the open sea. The gaming industry might just be in the middle of a full-blown pirate renaissance, and honestly, we're here for every single second of it. Before we wrap things up, let's blast through a few more stories you need to know about. First, and this one is serious, GameSpot is reporting that David Burke, the R&B singer known professionally as D4VD, who first rose to fame as a Fortnite content creator, has been arrested on murder charges. According to NBC4 Los Angeles, the decomposed remains of a missing woman were discovered in Burke's Tesla, and he was arrested at a Hollywood Hills home on April 16th. This is an extremely grave situation, and our thoughts are with the victim's family during what must be an unimaginably painful time. Moving on, GameSpot reports that Pickmos, the creature-collecting game that drew heavy criticism for looking a little too much like a Palworld and Pokémon mashup, has been pulled from Steam entirely. Publisher Network Go says it's stepping in to take a more active role in development and promises a, quote, controversy-free rework is on the way. We'll believe it when we see it. And finally, on a much lighter note, GameSpot is reporting that Charlie Cox, who voices Gustav in the critically acclaimed Clair Obscur, Expedition 33 and earned himself a Game Awards nomination for Best Performance, has finally played a bit of the game he starred in. His verdict on his own skills? And I quote, "I'm not very good." Daredevil himself, fumbling through an RPG. Honestly, that's incredibly relatable, and we love him for it. That's going to do it for today's show, everyone.